Hello, my name is Jim Downs and I'm a field specialist in forestry for Ohio State University Extension. Today, I'm coming to you from Northern California, very close to the coast, and I'm going to be introducing coastal redwoods, which these redwoods are the tallest trees on the planet. They can reach heights of upwards of 380 feet tall. One of the reasons why these trees can reach such tremendous heights is due to how they get moisture. So these trees don't draw all the water that they require up through their root systems. They actually get a significant amount of water coming in from the clouds that roll off the Pacific Ocean onto land that carry a bunch of moisture. That moisture is able to permeate into the needles of this tree, giving it that ability to grow to such tall heights. These are also very long-lived trees. While the average maturity for redwoods is probably somewhere along the range of 500 to 800 years, these can reach ages of up to 2,200 years of age. So as far as the diameter of these trees, the largest specimens get up to around 26 feet in diameter. The ones that I'm standing next to, probably somewhere around 12 foot in diameter, versus the one on my left, probably closer to 6 foot in diameter. The bark on these trees can get very thick, upwards of a foot thick, making them very resistant to fire, especially fire that moves across the ground. And while this is a temperate rainforest, meaning that it gets well over 100 inches of rain in a calendar year, these forests do experience fire, just not very frequently. Usually greater than every 100 years, there'll be a fire that will move through these forests. To identify redwoods, we're going to be looking for a tree that has two ranked needles, so flattened needles that emanate on either side of the stem. The top side of the needles will be more of a bright green versus the underside will be a more palish color, and there will be two distinct white lines on the underneath side. Occasionally you will see scale-like needles towards the end of the branches where the cones will be held. And for a tree that is the tallest tree on earth, one might expect that these would be very large cones, but actually they're fairly small, somewhere around 3/4 of an inch in length, maybe up to an inch in length, shaped sort of like an olive. One of the iconic species that is associated with these redwood forests is the banana slug, which is a decomposer. It works on decomposing most things in a redwood forest. However, it usually does not touch the redwood seedlings or its seed. Another thing that you will commonly find in these forests is that everything essentially is taller here, including the sword ferns, which make up a lot of the understory plants, which can be upwards of 5 to 6 foot tall pretty easily. Because these trees are so large and massive and have such huge canopies, there are actually a number of different organisms that live up in the canopies of these trees that actually complete their entire life cycle above ground and never come down to step foot on the ground. So the wood of coastal redwoods is a very useful wood, and it still is harvested on private lands in certain parts of California. The wood is very rot resistant, great for outdoor settings such as decking, produces a very red colored wood, and as you might expect, given the size and longevity of these trees, it has to be fairly rot resistant and disease resistant to be able to survive for such long periods of time. So while before I was in an old growth coastal redwood stand, here I'm in what is referred to as a second growth redwood stand. So this area would have been clear cut sometime in the 1900s and allowed to revert naturally. And this illustrates one of the very unique features of coastal redwoods that most conifers do not have, is they have the ability to resprout from the existing root system and from the existing stump. And so as you can see in a number of places here, you have a great number of tree sprouts, stump sprouts coming up from around the previous stumps. One of the reasons why they cut these stumps so high, as you can see here, stump was cut approximately 10 foot off the ground, one of which was to avoid the butt swell from the base of the tree, but then also the bottoms of the trees tend to have a lot more resin and become a little bit more difficult to cut. The growing range of coastal redwoods is very limited to along the coast of Northern California and very southern Oregon. Actually stretches from around San Francisco up to the very southern parts of Oregon. and it is just located along the coastline or fairly close to the coast. Part of that is because of it is that coast helps moderate the temperature, keeps it from getting too cold, as well as providing ample moisture. Unfortunately, our climate back in Ohio is too cold to be able to grow these coastal redwoods outside. With that, thank you for watching. Have a great day.